Hello and welcome to Player Focus, a new feature here on LFC Focus where I take a look at a specific player at Liverpool and their form and performances in recent weeks. Starting off this week, we've got Liverpool's left back and vice captain, James Milner. So when you look at it on the surface, James Milner's been having a pretty alright season for Liverpool this year so far. He's obviously been infallible from the penalty spot, which is great. It's good to have that reliable penalty taker, especially after Liverpool lost Steven Gerrard when James Milner came in. He's been pretty good defensively. He's been very reliable at the back as well. At one point he was even being called the best left back in the country, which for someone who's playing so far out of position at such a late point in his career as well, where he isn't really expected to be learning anything new about the game, that's very impressive, and so we are quite lucky to have him. But in recent weeks there has been a problem that's starting to surface, and I think a lot more people are noticing about James Milner. He cuts inside a lot, and this is just only becoming a more and more of a problem when Liverpool particularly seem to be playing against the smaller teams, because obviously in Jurgen Klopp's system he wants both of his fullbacks to be pushing very high up the pitch, and so he asked this of James Milner and Nathaniel Clyne. And while Clyne isn't the best at playing an attacking role, as a natural right back he is quite used to bombing down that right hand side and then getting to the byline and then trying to whip in across, even though he doesn't maybe do this as much as we'd quite like him to. But James Milner is a serial offender when it comes to attacking down the left wing, cutting inside, and then playing either a fairly mediocre, boring pass with his right foot that then gets played to someone in the midfield, or just putting in a useless cross that doesn't really have any pace or threat on it. And this is a real problem for Liverpool, because if we can't get those fullbacks to be attacking and keeping the pace up of the attack, then we can't really play the way that Jurgen Klopp wants us to. And early on in the season, James Milner was contributing an awful lot to the attack, and it seems that recently things have sort of started to slow down for him. And with the transfer window coming up and Jurgen Klopp probably looking to have an overhaul quite similar to the one he had last summer, when we also had questions about whether or not Liverpool should get a left back, I'd say that James Milner's position there is a little bit threatened. Obviously, I think he does have a future at the club. He's our vice captain. He's incredibly important to us. And he's obviously a very good utility player all over the pitch, not just at left back or central midfield is his natural position. But I would not be surprised if Jurgen Klopp goes looking in the market for a left back to find one who just fits his system better, attacks more, probably preferably a younger one as well, who can sort of learn that system as well, and just a player who's more naturally suited to playing left back, who's got those attacking traits, while also being defensively capable, like Alberto Moreno obviously isn't. But like I said, I don't think this does spell the end for James Milner, and obviously he has been putting in some pretty good performances, particularly against the big teams. And I think this is the key thing with James Milner, is when we're playing big teams and we defend a little bit more and we're not trying to attack for about 85 minutes of the match, then he performs a lot better, because he's being asked mainly to perform defensive duties, which are what sort of got him all these plaudits earlier on in the season when people were calling him the best left back in the league, because of his hard-working nature and his desperation to just get the ball, keep things going. This means that in these games he actually performs pretty well. So maybe next season Liverpool could look to have a plan where they have a more attacking left back for games against teams like, say, Burnley, Crystal Palace, the bottom half of the table, and then bring James Milner back in when they're playing against teams like Arsenal and Manchester City, where they've got to defend a little bit more. So all in all, while this season hasn't necessarily been awful, it does concern me a little bit with the games that Liverpool have coming up, all against sides outside of the top six where we can expect to play a more attacking game, that we will probably have James Milner playing left back in those games. And it's for this reason that it wouldn't surprise me necessarily if Jurgen Klopp, who has been experimenting with a back three in recent weeks, puts Moreno in for some of these games, because obviously Moreno's best games at Liverpool were back during the Brendan Rodgers era when we were playing a back three and Moreno was at left wing back. But obviously only time will tell. I'm not saying that, I don't think we'll get top four if James Milner plays left back for the rest of the season, because he is a very capable player, and as long as Jurgen Klopp sees these problems that he's having with his attacking play and tells him to rectify them, then hopefully they'll be gone and Liverpool can carry on playing the way that they were early on in the season and clinch the top four. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new around here, like the video if you enjoyed it, and follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter. Bye for now.